for tuning in today. Today we're going to talk about boundaries. As you can read in the title, I'm going to title this Boundaries Queen. Yes. So, what are boundaries and why they are important to us? And let's start. So, in the past, like a few years ago, I thought like boundaries are so harsh and it's like so mean to set boundaries and we should be so kind to each other. When I like associate the way boundary, I was like, oh, I had in mind this like very harsh way to say no and to like be very harsh and very like strict and cold. And uh, in the past years, I was able to learn what are boundaries, why they're helpful, why is it good that I set boundaries, why is it good that I have people around me who are able to set boundaries, and why do they serve myself and the other people. And why can't I set boundaries? Why is it so hard for me? Why do I get scared to set boundaries and all the things? So I am here to share what I've learned in the past, and yes, I am so excited to talk with you about it. So why are boundaries important? Why are boundaries important in relationships? And let's start with why are boundaries important for ourselves. So boundaries are important for ourselves to make sure that we take care of our personal well-being as well as the people who are around us. So when I set healthy boundaries and I'm able to communicate healthy boundaries, I protect myself, my energy, my time, my finances, my heart. I'm just able to live according to my values. So when I have values but I am not able to set boundaries, I don't have integrity. I can't have integrity. Because if my value is, hey, I live a healthy lifestyle, and somebody asks me, hey, do you want to go smoke and drink with me? And I do not have the ability to say no, then I go and drink alcohol and smoke, then I don't live after my values. So in order to live a value-based life, we need the ability to set boundaries. But boundaries are not only valuable for ourselves, they're also very valuable to other people. So, for example, I want to meet my friend and she's very tired and she needs to rest. And I ask, hey, I'm inviting you over to my house. I would like to do a barbecue. We want to like sit outside in the garden and enjoy this beautiful weather. And she really needs to rest and she's really tired. But she's like, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I can't say no. I'm scared. So she comes. She's gonna be tired. She's not gonna be like good company to be around. So I am like, oh, I invited you and you don't even like to be here. And she cannot get the rest that she needs. And so where I really learned a lot about boundaries is actually, let me take off my socks. It's so warm. um, so when I did an internship in a senior care home, so what I did is I was working for 6 months with mostly very dement. I don't know if that's the English word, but when people lose their ability to really have clear consciousness and they're becoming, yeah, like very forgetful. Like they forget a lot of things. They don't have like clear memory and they're not able to live on their own. That's why they're living there. There were also people with other like illnesses, but this is like pretty main one. Nearly everyone had it. So to this point, it was very hard for me to set boundaries a lot of the times, and I was scared to like take care of myself because of what I have experienced as a child. So I was very like in a people pleasing mode. Still, it got better, but like I really changed the paradigm when I was there, and I realized these are people, they can't, they're not healthy humans, like intellectually and cognitive, like to be able to reason, hey, this is not okay to do. So they don't have this own internal boundary. So for example, I have an internal boundary um, to not um, hit someone. Uh, they didn't do that a lot, but some of them might not even have the boundary to hit someone because of their cognitive inabilities or their illness. They don't have like those guidelines, like these reason to live after according their values. And so you need to set the boundaries, and you need to be a leader, and in order for them to know, hey, this is too much, and this is the area where they can do what they want to do, and this is the area where not. If I am not able to set these boundaries, then they will just suck the energy out of me like all the time, because there I don't have a lot of things to do there. So they would just like, some of them, not everyone, will demand your time, will demand your attention, will just do things, and they don't mean it like bad. They're just like, they have illnesses, or they're just like elderly people most of the time. But I realized, hey, when I don't stand up for myself in this relationship, in this way of communicating with these people, nobody will. Because on the other side, there's a person who does not have the ability to reason and think everything through. So I found myself in a place, hey, if I don't like make sure that I'm getting rest, and if I don't make sure that my needs being met, and if I don't make sure that I say no if this is like too much right now, then the other person on the other side won't do it for me either. And so this is like the time where I really learned, hey, to say no. For example, there were people who really liked, like they basically wanted to hold your hand and listen to them talking about all the things that are bad for like 24/7. Um, if I would have done it, they would have like just taken it and be fine with it. Which, as I said, there's no complaint about it, because they're like, they have like their illnesses and they're there for a reason, right? So it is my responsibility. I found myself in a place where I saw, hey, this is my responsibility, and let me take care of this responsibility for the good of the other person and for the good of myself. So then I learned to say, hey, after maybe like 10-20 minutes, I felt like, oh, I need rest, I need to get out of this person, or maybe I had other responsibilities, and be like, hey, it was so nice meeting you, it was so nice to talk to you, we will see us later, or this afternoon, or tomorrow, or whenever. And then I found out, like, hey, yes, it is my responsibility to take care of my space and the people I let into my energy. And this was a lot to digest. Let me drink something. So I really learned that you're spending energy on every person you're meeting, and it is like you have an currency. Like, your energy is your currency, and you have a level of energy you can spend per day. And I can spend, some people just suck the energy out of you. It is really, by their energy, by the way they are just being, it just drains your energy so much. And because maybe their vibration is super low and on a super low frequency. So for example, I realize I'm not made to be around, working around sick people all the time. I think it is great, and I honor these people who do this valuable work of taking care of sick people, working in hospitals, working in like elderly care. But I realize, for me, I cannot do it. I do not want to do it, and I'm not interested in doing it. I love being around these elderly people. I have so many good memories. I had so much fun with them. But I realized at the end of a 6-hour shift, I am so drained, because they were complaining all the time, and they were sick, of course. I mean, the situations were not beautiful, but they were complaining all the time. The energy was very like low. People were dying, of course, because this is the place where often it's the last step. And for me, I realized, no, this is not for me. But I really enjoyed the time there. And I just realized at the end of the day I didn't want to like meet people a lot or meet friends because I was so drained. I needed to like all the rest of the day to just fill my cup up again because it was so draining. And not from the physical or like the work I was doing, but like just the energy and the people I was around. So yeah, that was something that I personally realized, and where I learned how to feel, oh, does this person make me feel good? Do I feel energized by them, or do they take my energy? Or and to learn to protect my space more. So to be able to say no if somebody is like, hey, can you do this or can you do this? Actually, you wouldn't think it, but this is like where I learned the most about leadership. Because if you lead a team, like, I don't know, in a business context, you're always leading healthy individuals, right? They have cognitive abilities, and hopefully they're also emotionally like healthy and fit and whatever. So this is one way of leadership. But there I learned to lead people whose cognitive abilities, whose physical abilities, who were super who were really dependent on my help. So that's a different kind of leadership that you need there. But I really learned leadership there because I just like came out of school, and or yeah, I was a little bit out of school, but you know, like the elderly people were always like the ones who they were my authorities, and now like the roles changed. So it was very interesting, but I realized I really learned how to love, like in a loving way, to direct the way, because you have to say everything. You have to like go straight, go left, like help people like go for a walk, like all the things, kind of like a child, uh, but in a different way, because a child grows up and yeah, it's different than children. Um, but I just learned how to um, take control and take responsibility for myself and other people, and also for their well-being. Not in a way that I'm responsible that you're always happy, but in a way that I know when I go for a walk with like four of these elderly women whose maybe cognitive abilities are very like not super high anymore, that I am responsible for taking us safely home. And so that's one thing I learned, to take responsibility, and also take responsibility by taking this responsibility. I learned to also be responsible to say no. So when I'm not responsible, I am also not responsible to say no, because then I'm just like kind of passive. But when I say, hey, I take responsibility for myself and even for other people, then like if you can't say no, then you're a very bad leader, because by saying no, I can protect myself and my own space, but I can also protect other people, because when I'm with one woman and I'm like taking the time to be with her right now and spend time with her or listen to her or whatever's on her heart, and my ability, and then other people are coming up and say, hey, can you do this, hey, can you do this, if I have the ability to say no, that I am protecting the person I am right now and the person I took the responsibility for, or I'm responsible for. So I think also in a sense of leadership, saying no and having boundaries is a super important quality that yeah just needs to be installed in us in order to protect the people we're responsible for and protect ourselves. And a no should, like, I thought saying no was like a super harsh thing, but a no can just be like, hey, do you have time to do this right now? No, I'm sorry, I can't. Or yes, but only I have only 5 minutes. And this is so caring for the other person and for yourself, because when when we don't say no, we're gonna resent them and we're gonna resent ourselves. Actually, it's worse that we're resenting our, like the resentment we build towards ourselves, because we know, hey, if I didn't say no and I sacrificed my needs to do something for you because of my inability to say no, I can't trust myself. So if you have watched my other live stream about self-trust, it was a very short one. Maybe I'm gonna make a longer one, but I made a video about self-trust and that the ability to set boundaries and say no is the foundation self-trust is built on. It was because I raised my self-trust through the confidence I had, and through raising my self-worth, and just through having experiences where I was able to realize, hey, I'm competent, hey, I can do that, hey, I just like did all of these things, and I can trust myself, and I can trust myself to say no, I can trust myself to do this. No, I can trust myself to just do it. And then what I realized, and I talked about this in this video, is when I can say no, this is when I really trust myself. When I know that I can stand up for myself. Because as a child, I remember that the people who, or like the girls in my class who annoyed me so much were the ones who were never like, they were saying like, they were never standing up. And I knew when behind my back somebody is talking bad about me, I can't trust them to stand up for me either, because they're never standing up for anyone or either for themselves. And then I realized, oh, I have some pride of myself that is still like that. Probably that's why I was so annoyed by them in the past. And then I really worked on it. And this is what I'm coming to, which is very important about boundaries. The sun is getting so hot. I think I'm gonna move the camera. I'm gonna move myself. So what I talked about boundaries. So then I found myself, hey, in some situations I'm unable to stand up for myself, even though I'm confident and even though I have a pretty high self-worth now. So why is that? And it's like your throat is like, you can't just, you have everything in your mind, and after the situation's over, you're like, I have the perfect argument, I can say everything, like, but why did I say it in this situation? And then I really released these emotions that were here blocked in my throat, and it was so much fear to speak up because I didn't feel safe. So I did a lot of work here and I just released it. And then I just went by and just forgot that I did all of this work. And which is very fun because from time to time again, I just realized you do your inner work. So I do my inner work. I work on the things, and then I just forget it. And then that I work through all of this. And in this situation when I'm at home, I obviously don't see the change how I would like show up differently. But when then situations are coming up, I'm automatically reacting differently in a positive way. Like I'm reacting the way I desire to react all the time, and I couldn't do consciously because when a situation is coming up, it's like a millisecond, and then you either react by shutting down or by speaking up. And so then there were like interesting situations here coming up, and I had people like just how do I say it? It was like, for example, I have one example where an elderly woman was like, yeah, like your generations, like if I would be like you, I would have already cleaned all the things, because we sold like cakes and people were like, this woman was like, yeah, I would have like cleaned everything already, and you guys are like not into that, and like your generation's still kind of like lazy or something like that, she said. And in this moment, like normally I would like probably cleaned up, or like not normally, I wouldn't say normally, I take it back. In the past, I probably would be annoyed and maybe clean up or maybe not, and just like continue. And this woman, I was like, yes, I can understand it, because the woman was right. she probably would have done it differently. And I was like, but this is our space right now, and we're doing it the way we want to do it. And I understand that you would have done it differently, but you know what? This is our area, and we're responsible for it, and we do it the way we think it's good, and we think it's right. And maybe it's not as clean as you would have done it, but this is the way we choose to do it now. And there was another situation where I said no. So for example, somebody asked me, hey, can you do this and this? And I was like, no, I can't. Because I was responsible for another area, and I couldn't like do what I'm responsible for if I did the other thing, and also probably I didn't want to. And so I just said no. And it's interesting because this was also the same, like in older generations, like boomer generations, like around 50. And she was like, yeah, we would have never like dared to say no when we were as your age to like the elderly people. And she really, like, I think on one thing she really desired that she had the courage to say these things, and on the other side she really resented probably herself for not doing it and myself for doing it. And then this is the moment where I realized, hey, yes, saying no will trigger people, because it will show them, hey, so many times you didn't say no either, but you really wanted to, and now I'm doing what you wanted to do, but you didn't, and now you resent me, but actually you're angry at yourself. Which I can understand in the past, where I was unable to say no, and it people pleased a lot, and then other people were just saying no. I was like, I did all of these things, and you're saying no to that. When I stopped people pleasing, and when I started to say what I want and say no if I don't, I was not that mad anymore if people say no, because I was like, yeah, she's saying no. I say no when I don't want to do something, so I'm fine. I actually respected that person. I was like, yeah, she can say no. I think that's really cool. Like last week there was a person, so from the university I am right now, we had like a small, like, not say like like a table and like banners, and we were like just telling people about the university. So basically not selling it, but like bringing it to the people. And there was like one girl who was like, she had 2 more years in school, and I asked her, hey, we have something like open day where you can just come and like watch it. And I was like, hey, do you want to come? That would be so cool. She was like, no, I still have 2 years to go to school, I don't want to. And I was like, I understand you have 2 more years to go to school, and still it could be very cool to look at the options you have. You're not having to like sign up, just look at what options you have, so you have 2 more years to look at the other options and then think about it. And she was like, and this was like a young girl, maybe like 15 or something like that, and she was like, no, I don't want to do it, maybe in 2 years. And then she left, and I was like, this girl is so good. I was like, she can set boundaries, she will go far in life. And so I really respected her for that, because I have the ability to do it myself, and I see it in her, and I'm like, yeah, I love that. So boundaries will trigger people, and I think also like really older generations sometimes, and it will also, like, people respect you more. And I'm not saying that we have to be mean. I think setting boundaries in a kind way is very like good and amazing. And yeah, I think just setting boundaries is like, I don't like the word dark feminine energy sometimes, because there's so many like TikTok videos and like around the internet where like dark feminine energy has to do like with manipulating men, or like just not being kind, maybe more in a wounded way. What it actually means is like the assertive like boundary setting, like the things that are not like super acceptable to society. So for example, like these like older, not elderly, I mean in their mid-50s. So what maybe also the older generations did suppress because that's how they were taught. So yes, still it's so cool to have like this side, and then to have the sweet and caring and nurturing and loving side. I think a woman who can do both is a woman who's powerful, a woman who is very like warm and soft and nurturing and happy and like enjoying life and warm, and also can say no, set boundaries, speak up, say what you want, like be brave, be courageous, be like very ambitious. I think like both sides is, it's so cool if you have both, and I think this is also healthy to have both. I think if it's too much on the, yeah, I'm like harsh and like cold and I said no to everything and I have like boundaries which are not boundaries anymore but like just walls against people, then yeah, obviously that's not healthy and that's just wounded energy. Yes, so I was definitely more on the warm and soft and like feminine and people-pleasing side, so that's what I can teach people and that's what I can talk about. I have not experienced like being super on the dark feminine and then developing my warm and like nurturing side. Yes, this is what I learned about boundary queen, boundary queen, boundary queen, boundary queen. I love this name. It's just like boundaries can be so subtle. So for example, I set a boundary like checking more with who I'm spending time with, and if these people don't align my values, I just don't go to the meetups. I just, yeah, I just like make sure that I am around people who values match with with my values. So, and then I don't have to like tell all the people, it's like I'm not gonna meet up with you anymore because you don't have the values like I want to have. I just, when there's like a quest, I'm like, no thank you, that you're kind but I'm not interested. And yeah, so boundaries are there to protect yourself. Boundaries are there to have integrity and be honest to other people and also respect them. And the better you can set boundaries, the more you will recognize this as a strength in other people. And yes, anything else I'm gonna add to this video? So I don't think so. If you're interested in working with me, you can write me an email. There is an email address in the bio. And I am starting to create worksheets which you can then print or do as a Word document and you can write in. So as I'm always doing these videos as live streams, the worksheet is gonna pop up in the next hours or days, so you can just check it out. I am so excited. I will see, you can give me feedback on it if you like it this way, or yeah, what else. I think I'm gonna maybe add some like journal prompts and affirmations and yeah, just all the things so we can put into action and really use these videos as a form to do our inner work, to up the level and to learn more. I think learning is the key. I love learning. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then share this video with one of your friends where you think, hey, they should listen to it. And give this video a like up, a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and we will see us in the next video. Bye bye. You Naomi.